Welcome to Wellness Wednesday with Brit. I'm Brit, and this week we're talking about motivation. Motivation can sometimes seem like the most difficult thing to sustain when you have a chronic illness. So, I found someone who's going to talk to us about some tips that she uses to stay motivated in her professional and personal life. So, let's go ahead and get into that. I'm talking with Rose from Maryland, and she's going to talk to me about chronic illness and staying motivated. Rose, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
So, Rose, tell me a little bit about your health backstory. What is your chronic illness journey?
So, my chronic illness is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So, it's commonly known as PMDD, and it's very recently known as like a chronic illness because it just got entered into the DSM as of 2019. So, before that, it wasn't actually recognized as an illness, and it's only in 1 of 20 women. So it's commonly, some people mistake it for PMS, like before your cycle, you're like, oh, I'm just feeling a little off. And that's how I was feeling. I was having all of these symptoms, but I was noticing that once my cycle ended, all of the symptoms would go away. So I was constantly trying to find out why I was like for 2 weeks out of the month, I was not feeling like myself. I was feeling fatigued. I was feeling depressed. I was having bad anxiety, night sweats, all of these things. And then right after I ovulated and my cycle was starting to come on, I would feel back to myself. I would feel back to normal. So it was literally, I was half of the time I was myself, and the other half of the time I had PMDD. And so I was trying to figure out what it was because it wasn't commonly known. Even when I went to my doctor, they said, oh, take some more B12, do something extra for your energy. And I'm a health coach, so I was already really healthy. So I'm like, what else can I cut out? Like I went vegan for a while. I was pescatarian. I was trying all of these things. Like maybe, it's something that I'm eating, or maybe I'm not exercising enough, but I was doing all of those things. And I was still having these symptoms. And that's when I realized I was actually diagnosed and said, okay, I have what is called PMDD, and I just have to find a way to work around it because at this time there is no cure for it. And there's nothing that you can literally do to take it away unless you have a hysterectomy, and then they also remove your ovaries as well.
So, is it something that, because I've heard of PMDD, but like most people, I don't know.
Right.
I know it's not PMS, but I don't know much beyond that. Is it something that you, as your cycles slow down, does it get better at all, or is it just something that you have for the rest of your life as a woman?
It's something that you have for the rest of your life until you go through menopause and you don't have your cycle anymore. So what it is, it's not a hormonal imbalance. It's how you are reacting to the normal fluctuations of your hormones that happen during ovulation. So when a woman goes through ovulation and then they have their cycle and they're doing all of these things, 1 in 20 women react differently to that process. And so that's why you have all of the symptoms. So until you actually remove the ovulation process, by removing the ovaries, you're going to have these symptoms. And so you kind of just have to do different self-care routines. It's very individualistic as far as how severe it is. I know for women, when you have your cycles, like some months can be a little bit worse than others. You could say, oh, this month was nothing, and this month, that's kind of how PMDD is. It's kind of like some months it's a little bit lighter, but then some months it'll come out of nowhere and you're like, whoa, like what is going on? Where you're, you know what I mean? You're feeling like it's hard to function and you can't do anything but wait until your period comes. So it's literally until your period comes, then you get the relief. But for those 2 weeks, you're just like, this is my life.
Yeah. So, that's literally that's half of your life, half of the month you're going through this. So obviously, you have, I know you have a daughter. She's very beautiful, young woman from your Instagram photos that I saw. On top of raising a child, you are a wife, you are a health coach, and you're also in the military. So, I mean, you can't just lay down for 2 weeks out of the month and just stop. You know, obviously, you've got to keep going. You've got a lot of commitments on your time and energy. So, I mean, to me, I'm tired just hearing about what you're going through 2 weeks out of the month. I feel like taking a nap. But, but in all seriousness, how do you get the motivation? I mean, this episode is about, staying motivated with a chronic illness. How do you find that strength, those reserves to pull on?
I think it's strictly from my coaching practice. So I started coaching a couple of years ago because I was really into fitness, and I figured out before I even knew that I had PMDD, I figured out that physical exercise and moving actually lifted my mood and reduced some of my symptoms. So I would find myself consistently trying to stay in the routine of moving, and doing something first thing in the morning, because I find that a lot of times with my symptoms, I wake up with night sweats. So imagine I'm in a lot of anxiety. So you're like waking up, you're not feeling like yourself, you're like drenched in sweat. And so many times I would just lay in the bed, and before I knew it, my day was over. And I was like, I can't, and that would be only on weekends that I could actually do that. And I was like, you know what, this is not sustainable. I need to get out in nature. I need to do a walk. So I started to develop a fitness routine, and also with meditation and yoga and certain self-care things that I was doing to make myself feel better and be able to operate throughout the day. Because yes, I've been in the military for 17 years now, and I didn't get PMDD until I had my daughter, who's going to be 11 this month. So I've literally had it this whole time, haven't known about it this whole time, but I've had it this whole time. And that's been the only thing that's kept me motivated. I found that if I woke up and I had this morning routine, that I would be feeling energy for the day that I couldn't. And it's nothing that coffee can do. So normally people are like, oh, I'll just have a cup of coffee and it'll lift my mood. But like physical exercise, which I figured out was like, oh, I can do it myself. I literally have to work to be motivated. So it's not something that comes to me. I have to work hard for it. And it's something that I have to work hard for every single day. So I found through coaching that I found such a purpose in allowing other people, whether they have a chronic illness or not, that they can really get that same feeling and still be able to function and be able to have energy to do other things throughout their day. It wasn't just about, fitness. It wasn't just about nutrition or putting, good things in your body. It was about how can I function and make it through the day while I still have this chronic illness.
Exactly. And I love that obviously those losing weight, how you look, those are pleasant side effects of fitness, very pleasant. But I love that you approach it from how do you feel? How does it improve your quality of life? And obviously the fact that, you have seen so drastically what, basic fitness can do for your mood, for your body, and taking that to the clients that you work with. You're coming from a very personal, experienced, point of view. So I would imagine that helps you stay on track with your motivation, as well as, because I know for me working with my clients, it helps me stay present in what I need to do for my own self-care. It's like if I'm telling somebody they need to be journaling, then it's like, oh, did you journal today? Guess you better get it in, because you want to practice what you preach. I know you and your husband have a very long distance marriage and relationship, and the last time that you guys were together, I was kind of like going back, and this sounds really creepy. I'm not a stalker, I assure you. But one of the things that I thought was really awesome, I'm going to bring it all home here, is that, you hadn't seen him for like over 100 days. And it seemed like your first post after he got back home was you guys were up together getting your day started with the morning routine and the, fitness. And I just thought that was so cool because, me personally, I mean, I don't have a very well established fitness routine that I'm hardcore about, but if I hadn't seen my husband in 100 some days, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't be working out I wouldn't be, edit, I wouldn't be.
Close the blinds.
But you know what I mean? Like, I would probably be like, that would be my vacation, from my normal routine. And I just really thought it was cool that it's like, you not only stuck to it, that you guys, that's something you can share together.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing about my husband is that his work ethic, I'm in the Army, he's in the Marines, so his work ethic, yeah. So when we met, we literally were like twin flames. We're like all of this motivation that I had worked hard for and that I was always doing, like he had it as well. So that really fuels me to have someone that's going to keep me uplifted. That is literally like we both feel good when we work out. We both feel good when we do these things. So let's do them together. And the feeling that we have after having a workout together and like high-fiving each other and doing all the things, like it enhances our day. So yes, we do all of the other things, but we also like it's so amazing. And I think I cherish it so much to have those morning routines with him because they're so limited. That like he'll be here this weekend, but I haven't seen him for a whole month. But I just cherish being able to not just have this something for me and this motivation for me, that I can share it with him, and it makes us closer. So a lot of my clients, I have couple clients where one person will start and the other person is like, no, I'm not into that. Like, that's not really my thing. But then they do it a couple of times and they realize that can actually be quality time that they're spending with their significant other. And you get these endorphins and you automatically feel good together. So it's not like one person is doing it and one person is not. I feel like that's a great way to kind of bring it all full circle and know that you're sharing something that you consider that's really personal for you with your significant other.
Rose, real quick, before we wrap up today, I want to ask you, if you were talking to yourself at the beginning of your fitness journey, you had been dealing with these, the side effects of the PMDD long before you had the actual official diagnosis. So, speaking to somebody that maybe at the beginning of their journey and they're finding it difficult to find the motivation, they're hurting, they're, depressed, or, a lot of the things that you were dealing with, what advice would you give to yourself, however many years ago, or give to somebody in a situation like that who's got a chronic illness and, they know that they need to start moving, but they just don't know how to get started?
I would say I spent a lot of time with myself in finding out what it is that I enjoy, what kind of movements actually bring me joy that I don't really consider fitness. So at the beginning of my journey, I used to love to dance. And when I say dance, I mean really just dance around. I love like Afro beats and like dance music. And I found that was actually considered like a workout. So you don't have to look at what someone else is doing and think that, you have to go lift weights for 2 hours in the gym, because that's something at the beginning of my journey. I saw other people doing it. I looked on, different social media platforms and I was like, oh, I have to go to the gym and do this, or, oh, I have to do that. And it didn't really resonate with me. And when I went to do it, I wasn't getting the same relief or, feelings that they were getting. So I felt even more defeated because I just hated it that much. So I would say, think back to what it is that makes you feel good. What kind of movements feel good in your body, whether it's fast paced, whether it's yoga, where you're just literally going slow and doing everything. Don't worry about keeping up with someone else. Don't worry about doing what someone else is doing. Worry about what feels good to you, and then start doing that every single day. So incorporate a little bit. You don't have to do, like, a lot of my workouts now are only 30 minutes out of my day. So it's not like I'm dedicating 2-3 hours, which I don't have, to do this. It's just saying I give myself 1 hour for me. So I say 30 minutes of exercise and 30 minutes of just stillness, whether it's meditating, whether it's just yoga or stretching or just journaling. Like you said, I do that every single day, and it's just checking in with me. And that is what got me motivated, because I didn't have to try to think if I was going to have that time out of my day at the end of the day. I made that my first priority. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I give 1 hour to me, and then the other, however many hours that I'm awake is to everyone else. And I noticed that once you create that routine and you start feeling confident, like I can do this 30 minutes or I can do this, hour that I'm spending for me. And then I'm not as tired. I'm not as drained, because I was beginning to resent the exercises that I was doing because it was taking energy out of me that I did not have. So it didn't feel good to me, and I was forcing myself to do something that I really didn't want to do, thinking that it was good for me. But when I found something that felt good, I began to say, I'm proud of myself that I carved out this hour and I went through my day and I'm not depleted. And my symptoms are still there sometimes, but I still feel like there's going to be tomorrow. I'm going to be able to pour into myself again. And it gave me that comfort that I do have something that I can do personally without depending on someone else to give me something else. Because so many times when you have a chronic illness, you may look to your loved ones or your friends or feeling like people should give more to you because you don't have it yourself. But just knowing that you have the gift of giving this to yourself every single day, and you don't have to depend on anyone else, is like the best thing ever, because you don't feel like, woe is me, this is my life. You feel motivated, like this is my life, like I got this, like I
exactly. Oh, I love that. That is, well, you know what? I can see why you are a successful coach, because I mean, you just, and I'm not even lying. Like I was gonna take a nap after this interview, but now I'm gonna go out. It's not too hot. I'm gonna get my walk in. I'm gonna get those steps in. So you just motivated me out of my seat, girl.
I love it.
You're good. You're good. Okay, so if anybody wants to reach out to you for coaching, how is the best way to do that?
So there's 2 ways. I'm on Instagram under Rose Foundational Freedom. And then also I have a website, www.rosefoundationalfreedom.com. And those are 2 ways to get the first introductory call. It's very customized, so I don't do cookie cutter. I'm going to send you this plan and good luck. I hope you do it. I'm really just have a talk like we're doing right now and get to know each individual and see what's going to work specifically for them. And we do that first call, and then after that, we can get started.
Perfect. Well, I think you might have a new client here after this session. I'm sold. No, but seriously, well, Rose, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me about motivation, how you just have such a, it's so amazing. I can't even find the words, but no, you really do draw people in, and I can see that you really have stepped into your purpose because you have a gift, and I'm really glad to see that you're sharing the things that you've learned to make your quality of life more fulfilling, and helping other people with that. So thank you for doing what you do, and thank you for speaking with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.